Hello YouTube, hello, and we're back with another speed lab. It's been a while since the last one, but yeah, we're back with a new character, and I'm pretty sure this is one of my fastest ones since the character comes out. So yeah, I wanted to cover her because she's a pretty annoying character to deal with in my opinion, and she has a lot of potential. I think there's a lot of people thinking that she's not that good because she can be a little bit awkward to play, but her potential is very high in my opinion, right? So yeah, let's keep going with the speed lab. Let's continue the speed lab. So this character, right? This character, if you want a little bit of a simple explanation, what you want to do against this character is sidestep a lot in the neutral, and in general, sidestepping is going to be pretty good too. Especially and specifically sidestep to the right. So you have to sidestep right to avoid a lot of the situations. Like, for example, while running 2-3, I'll cover these moves separately later, right? So while running 2-1, I mean, not 2-3, you have to step to the right, or else the second hit tracks you. Example. Right, and the other stuff, you can, like while running 3 also gets evaded, 4-4-2 can also get evaded. You want to sidestep this character to the right, usually. But there are exceptions. But so yeah, I'm gonna go over that later, but this is a little bit simpler terms. If you want to deal with this character, usually sidestep is gonna work. But it's not that simple either. Okay, first, let's start with jabs. So her jabs are actually pretty damn good. I pretty much... It reminds me of something like a Mishima 1-1-2 without the knockdown, right? So this is a 1-1, and this looks like a Mishima 1-1 if you just look at it normally, right? And 1-1-2 is confirmable just like a Mishima 1-1-2, more or less. And then you go into a stance, and then you get mixed up. So I'll cover these stance mix-ups a little bit later, but jabs are usually pretty damn good when it comes to, you know, sidestep into a jab punish, confirm into mix-ups, stuff like that, right? So whenever we see not Azucena, I keep calling her Azucena by the way. Whenever you see Miary just sidestep into 1-1, that's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. It is -4, unlike someone like Mishima's 1-1, which is, you know, -1, which I think Kazuya is -1 if I remember correctly. I know, fake Kazuya, I mean. But yeah, this is -4. But the thing is, if you want to punish this, this is important. If you want to punish this, you have to duck it. So it's gonna look something like this. You have to duck it, and there's 2 hits. So if you duck one and try to punish, you're gonna get hit by the last one. This is how we want to punish this. Now, some of you might see that it's -11, right? It is -11. It's actually punishable if they don't switch to a stance. The moment they switch to a stance here, they can cancel this stance and make it safe. They can just make it safe. You can't even down jab this, by the way. A jab is just gonna whiff as well because it high crushes. But this can be safe if the player actually does this correctly. So yeah, be very, very careful about this. Very careful. Okay. So next is when it comes to jabs, I just want to mention this as well, is 1-2. Now 1-2 just by itself doesn't really do much, but the follow-up 1-2 is what's really, really important. And the important part about this is that it's basically a G-clef string. A G-clef here means that on counter this is all guaranteed. Which means that if all of this is guaranteed, at the wall, this is gonna wall splat, right? This is usually how it's gonna be used. Whenever you're gonna be at the wall, let's say in this kind of situation, there's a wall there, right? Yep, there's a wall there. And you are gonna get counter hit. They're gonna combo you for whatever, right? Whatever damage, whatever combo there is. So you have to be very, very careful. They usually use either a plus train move into this or a low minus move into this, and they might catch you. So you have to be ready for it, which means that you have to duck this last hit. Right? Usually you have to duck it. Anyway, there's also this option to actually step it. So there are 2 options here. Ducking it is the easy way out, more or less. You can't do that, but you can also step it to the right. But I don't really recommend stepping too much, because there are going to be some situations where there's going to be a wall to that side. Right? Let's say I step this side. It won't work. So if there's a wall on the other side, you can't really step it. So you're going to be forced to duck. But stepping, in general, is a bit better than ducking. It is better. But the only reason I wouldn't recommend it is if there's a wall on the other side, you can't really step. But other than that, stepping is pretty good. Because, as I said, ducking is not the best option. You might get hit randomly by anything, basically. So you have to be careful about that. The other thing, which is also a mini jab, it's not really a jab, but it's like an 11 frame 2 jab, is that 2-2. It's basically the second hit of 1-2 and the last hit of 1-2. It's basically that. This is natural. Unlike the G-clef counter hit, this is all natural, which means that this will just hit you. In this situation, it's going to be exactly the same as the other one. Low minus frames or plus frames that they just check you with 2-2. This is going to be way harder to duck. Way, way harder to duck. And the reason behind that is because you don't have as much time to react. You can also sidestep, but it's going to be, as I said, way harder. It's possible because of the high being slow, but unless you expect something like this, it's not going to be that realistic in my opinion. Right? Not that realistic anyway, but it's possible. You just have to expect it. And they can be pretty predictable. Can, obviously. Okay, that's about jabs, more or less. I'm pretty sure just one jab can be used a lot as well. It's a jab, just like everyone can use the one jab. But let's talk about down forward 1 now. So down forward 1 is a very, very important tool, in my opinion, for Miary and Miary players in general. Because down forward 1's range is decent, it's not that bad, and the block frames are what matter. Like range, okay, right? Pushback, pretty damn good. So 1 pushback into 1 backdash will avoid most things, even though her backdash is not the best. So one of the weaknesses she does have is that her backdash is pretty bad. It's not that good, right? But whenever you have these kind of pushbacks, you're still gonna avoid a lot of stuff. So let's say I do down forward 1, backdash down forward 2, something like this, right? And in certain ranges, my jab is gonna whiff. Right? It's just gonna whiff. Or if I try, let's say, I don't know, a magic 4 here, it's gonna whiff. Or like a down forward 1 check, it's gonna whiff. Let's say a back 2 check. Okay, that's not gonna whiff. Maybe a little bit further, right? Now it's gonna whiff. So yeah, something like this can be pretty good. So you have to be careful. Yeah, if you just back, it's not that bad. That's correct. That is indeed correct. Okay. So yeah, down forward 1 pushback, you have to be careful about that. But other than the pushback and the low minus frames, there's also follow-ups. Right? One follow-up is down forward 1-4, which is a mid and minus 13. This thing is very important, and it's pretty important to punish later as well, because the second it is a counter launcher. So whenever you, let's say they do a lot of down forward 1s, that you did just down forward 1, down forward 1, down forward 1, and you keep pressing into it. Let's say you press into it because, you know, you want to get your turn sooner or later. They might just finish this and counter launch you. It just counter launches you for free, right? And this can do a lot of damage depending on what the Miary Zo player does, because if they go into stance, it won't be as much damage. It's something like this into, you know, whatever, something like that. It's gotta be still decent damage with decent wall carry, but the worst option is when they don't go into stance. Let's say something like this, and then combo you normally. I'm not too sure if that's comboable. I'm gonna be honest. But if it is comboable, it's gonna catch you with something like a down forward 1, let's say. Let me just check. It is not comboable. But yeah, the stance will combo you. Maybe it is comboable, I just don't know about it. But yeah, the stance will combo you, so you have to be careful. It's a counter launcher. That's about down forward 1-4. Whenever you block it, you have to punish it. You just have to punish it. And also good to know that whenever you block it, it does not transition into a stance. It does not do it. That's only on hit. Okay, that's down forward 1-4. But there's also another one, which is down forward 1-1. And this is a mix-up with this. If you do try to duck it, you're going to get hit by a mid. And if you don't duck it, you're going to block the high, which is -3. Now, the thing about the high and blocking it, why you kind of don't want to do it, is because this transitions into a stance and you're going to get mixed up. You're just going to get mixed up, right? This into stance into mix-up. Whatever. I'll cover stances later, as I already said. But, yeah. And the mashing here isn't that good either, because they can just sidestep your mashing button, whatever you're going to mash. And they also have follow-ups. So the follow-ups, let me just cover the follow-ups. So there's this one follow-up, which is -12. Always punish this, obviously. And the other follow-up, which is a normal hit launcher, and it's launch punishable. So that move, this move right here, the unicorn, uppercut, whatever you want to call this, is the same as this. Exactly the same moves. Both of them are launch punishable. This move is a -17, decent range, mid, that will normal hit launch you, right? It's a normal hit launcher. And very important to launch punish, because this will deal a lot of damage to you as well. With like a pretty simple combo, right? Something like this maybe, right? I dropped the combo. But it's a pretty simple combo, you don't really have to do anything too special. Let me just finish it, there we go. 85, just like that, right? So yeah, you have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful when it comes to moves like this. So yeah, always launch punish it, because if you don't launch punish it, they'll get away with something like this that, you know, does way too much damage. Okay, that's about this. And the string extension, right? But sometimes whenever you do see this, sometimes you gotta mash, right? Sometimes. But yeah, sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, sometimes you duck, sometimes you don't. It's just how it is, right? Again, down forward 1 with a mid-high mix-up, it's just how it works, and it's very strong, obviously. And the reason it's so damn good, in my opinion anyway, is because of the frames. -2 is crazy. -2 is absolutely insane for a down forward 1 that has a mid and a mid-high, and a mid-high into a stance, and a mid-high into a mid. Yeah, okay. That's about down forward 1, more or less. Now let's cover some other neutral tools as well, like down forward 2. So down forward 2 is one of the most important neutral tools for this character, in my opinion. Right? Down forward 2 is like a generic down forward 2, but it has a little bit of forward momentum. If you guys see, she just teleports forward, right? And then does a down forward 2. So the range of it is not that bad, so you have to be careful. Whenever you're trying to get close, it's gonna be a bit rough. It might just clip you out of nowhere. And it's also safe, right? It's -7. I'm showcase. It's -7. So yeah, be very, very careful about this down forward 2. Other than that, in the neutral, as I said, you do want to be stepping to the right, and let me just showcase why. I did mention while running 2-1. So while running 2-1 is going to be a neutral tool and a pressure tool for the Miary player, because on block it's +4, it goes into a stance, and you're going to be getting mixed up. Right? You are just going to get mixed up. And when you get mixed up here, it's something that you don't want. You don't want to block that, obviously. So there are two options that you can do. One is just duck it, which I don't really recommend because ducking is pretty risky. But the other thing you can do is sidestep it. So you sidestep to the right. Let me just do this, just so I can showcase it, right? Because if I sidestep to this side, let's say sidestep left. Let me just showcase it in the actual real scenario, because you're not that close usually. There we go. So whenever that happens, usually the first hit might whiff, but the second hit might track you. So sidestep left, I wouldn't really recommend. There you go. Right, this kind of situation is going to be a little bit more realistic in matches. But if you go to the right instead, the second one just whiffs. Like, you don't have to worry about the elbow. So yeah, step right block specifically, pretty damn good. She getting Rafal. So yeah, really, really good. Oh yeah, so that's about that. More or less, while running 2, that's what you want to do. And whenever the stance happens, by the way, so whenever this kind of stance happens into a plus frames, let's say this, +4, right? Pay attention to the plus frames. I will cover, as I said, I will cover the stance options later, but whenever this kind of stuff happens, whenever they go into this stance with plus frames, if you pay attention to the plus, and if it's lower than +5, then you can actually jab interrupt, specifically down jab or normal jab. Don't normal jab short outs though. I'm not too sure about anyone else. I tested a lot of characters. Like, well, not a lot, but I tested Devilgen and Paul as well. They work. Kazuya doesn't work. I'm gonna just showcase it. You can either jab or down jab in this situation, because one of the fastest options and the best options is this. If you want to get away from this, right? Kazuya can't though. His jab just whips. It just does it. Like, big thank you for the sub, bro.
Miary Zo bad new for Kaz.
Miary Zo, amazing. I'm not too sure yet. It's a little bit too early to talk about matchups, but yeah. So yeah, whenever you see that being lower than -5, it is possible to interrupt with down jabs. But the one thing that will beat you is the fastest option they have, which is the stance 1-2. This will beat you. And this you just have to beat out. You can't really do much about it unless you power crush. So that's the third option that you do. One is jab down jab. Don't jab before Kazuya though, so just down jab and power crush. And depending on your character, you can also, I don't know, maybe parry, maybe backswing. Depending on your character, you can lab this all yourself, but these are more generic options that mostly everyone can do, right? And another situation that happens exactly the same way is sidestep 2. You see the +4 in the stance, right? +4 stance, exactly the same. This stance, +4 stance, exactly the same. You can do the same thing, play the same mind games, but you have to be careful, because they're not forced into a stance, right? They can just backdash here, same as here, they can just sidestep here, and it's still plus. Both of them are +1 without stances. So yeah, be very, very careful. Yeah, the stance 1-2 is confirmable. It can be stepped to one side though. As I said, I will cover this a little bit later. But yeah, that's about sidestep 2, and you do want to be stepping to the right. But there's a lot of options that she can use to actually catch you stepping to the right. Like something like down forward 2, I already mentioned this, right? Down forward 2 as a move. This has slide track to the left, so you have to be careful about this whenever you go left. So step right usually will work, but there's a lot of options, which I will cover right now. Back 4 is one of them. So the move specifically lists that this has strong tracking to the right, which basically means that it's fully homing to that side. So you cannot sidestep this. And this move is absolutely insane, is specifically and especially at the wall. Because it's -2, right? -2, mid, slide pushback, wall splat. Absolutely insane. This is gonna wall splat normally into whatever combo you want, right? Obviously. So be very, very careful when it comes to stepping to the right because of, let's say, this move. Let's say. And also low crushes. Exactly. Okay, that's one. Down back 1+2 is another one. This is very underrated. I don't really see anyone use it too much, but this is a very underrated move. This also fully tracks to the right, more or less. +13 on normal hit, which means it's a heat engager. Right? Heat engager. Normal hit, by the way. And it will wall splat after the heat engager into, you know, whatever combo. Whatever the hell the combo you want to do. So, yeah, it's super, super strong. You basically think of something like Asuka forward 4. Or I think June forward 4. I think they're the same input, right? I forgot what the input is. But they're plus frame highs that guarantee heat engagers. Or there's sometimes normally launch as well, normal hit launches. So this is a version of that, but it's not tracking, but it's only tracked to one side instead of both sides. It's not homing. But it's still very strong, and it's +3 on block. So it's plus on block. Right? Pretty fast 18, decent speed, but it's plus on block. That's what really matters. Right? Plus, and heat engager is guaranteed. Okay, so that's about this move. This also stops you from sidestepping right. If you want to avoid these two moves, by the way, you have to sidestep the other way. I wouldn't really recommend that too much, but sometimes you can on a read, obviously. Right, now let's talk about the third option, which is also really good. It's 1+2. So 1+2 is basically, think about Brian's down back 1+2. Same move, more or less. Right, so this 15 frame heat engager, 24 damage. You can do it from while standing as well, while standing 1+2 like that. And why this is important is because the same way all of those moves track you, this move also tracks you. Like if I try to, let's say, sidestep right, this will just track you. Even in the neutral, they can just run up and do it. Like this is gonna be very hard for me to step. Right now, I just timed it. I know when she's gonna, you know, just do it, right? There you go. Literally change sides. I don't know what else to even show, right? Literally change sides and hit me. So, yeah, this is also one of those moves where you have to sidestep to the left instead of going to the right. But, yeah, she has a lot of covering. Like, a lot of covering when it comes to which direction she can track. A lot of covering. So, yeah, very important about that as well. Another move that will beat you. And other than that, there's also a few moves that are pretty damn good as well. But those are like put into a separate category, which is a mind game category, right? So let's just talk about those now. So one, actually before the mind game category, let me just mention this move, which is a down forward 3. So down forward 3 is the homing move, mid homing move, which you can use outside of forward 3, which I don't think a lot of people will use forward 3 in the neutral, mostly a combo tool. But down forward 3 is gonna be pretty damn good as a normal check, right? It's safe, mid, tracking move, you can just use it. And it also has a second follow-up, so if they do, let's say, situation confirm it whenever you're moving or pressing, they can wall splat you with it or just finish it in general. But it is punishable. It's -13 if you do block it fully. It's just good to know, right? One homing option. Now we can go to the mind game options, because another homing option is also a mind game option. Okay, so back to 3. This move is insane. In my opinion, it's an insane move, very, very strong. And the main reason why it's so insane, well, there's a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons why it's so insane is because, one, it's 13, right? 13 frame homing move. This is a natural, 26 damage, pretty damn strong, +2, and it's -9. And the jails, you cannot duck the second hit. Very important here, right? You cannot duck the second hit here. So this on its own is already really good, because it forces you to duck to punish it. But it wouldn't be as bad if it just finished here, right? Just finished here, it's not as bad because you can get your turn back. But you have to deal with a lot more stuff. And I mean a lot more stuff. Because this string has this finisher, right? It has a finisher. Which means that if you do actually take your turn back here or even try to move here, you are going to get hit. Right? Let's say I try to jab. Won't hit. Won't work. If I try down jab, it will work. Right? Because of the high being a little bit slow. So down jabbing here is not that bad. It's not really that bad. it's not that good either, but it's not that bad, right? Down jab, our Lord and Savior. So yeah, down jab can be pretty good to get out of that situation if you don't want to guess the high anyway. But what they can do is after this, they can also go into a stance, right? And whenever they go into a stance here, they can cancel it. They can do a lot of options like this one. They can, you know, jump like this as well. So it's gonna be very, very rough. In general, it's gonna be rough. The down jab will interrupt every kind of stance pressure. That's why I would usually recommend the down jab here. But in my opinion, one of the reasons why I think this is busted is because a -9 13 frame high homing move is forcing you to down jab on block. It's forcing you to do that, which is absolutely insane to me, because they can just do this into a low parry, they can do this into canceled low parry, and they can do a lot of stuff with a forced down jab, basically, right? But the down jab is pretty damn good if you want to avoid all of these mix-up situations, right? But you can't be read very easily, very, very easily, because the down jab is the only thing that you can do. You can't jab there. You have to down jab. So, yeah. Good luck with that, I guess. And if you respect it, okay, let's say you respect it. You don't respect it because you can't move here because this will just track you. This also has a slight delay, so you can't really react to it too easily anyway. Even though I think it's possible, 27, but the slight delay makes it a bit harder. But okay, let's say you respect it. If you respect it, you're gonna get mixed by the stats, right? You're just gonna get mixed. And if you do get mixed, there's a full crouch mix-up from here. I don't think I mentioned this, right? This can be cancelled to a full crouch. And she has a full crouch mix-up. I will talk about this when I cover stances. This is basically a full crouch stance. Right? It's basically a stance. But yeah, full crouch mix-up has a mini hell sweep, clean hit hell sweep, which, you know, guarantees all of this. That's guaranteed. So you have to be very careful when it comes to guessing here, because there's a lot of good options. A lot of good options. A 12 frame mid would not work because you need the high crushing. That's why down jab works. If you don't high crush here, the high is going to catch you. You need something that high crushes, basically. You can also use some other moves if you have enough high crushing. Like maybe a Claudio down back 1+2 is gonna work. Maybe, right? Obviously I don't play Claudio, but you guys can check it out yourself. Okay, so yeah, very, very important. This high creates mind game situations. If you try anything, you get hit. If you don't try anything, you're gonna get mixed up. If you down jab, you can get away from the situation. But if they read the down jab, they can low parry you or do whatever the fuck they want, basically. Right? If they read the down jab, they can just read it and do like a countermeasure for it. But yeah, outside of that countermeasure, down jab is a pretty good option, because if they, you know, try anything, it's just gonna stop them. But if the down jab gets blocked, they're still minus. So yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. Now, the other mind game option, down forward 4. So down forward 4 is a mind game option and a neutral option. Why? Because down forward 4 not only is a +5 mid, 16 frames, pretty damn fast, right? But it's also a stance pressure tool, which goes into stance, which is a +8 to stance situation, and you're just guessing, right? You can't really down jab or power crush here mostly. Power crush can sometimes work in my opinion, but if they do a 1-2, you can't power crush this. You can't power crush that. So yeah, you have to be very careful, and you're just guessing. Usually you're guessing on normal hit into stance, right? But the crazy thing about this move, in my opinion, is that this is a normal hit launcher. Not normal, counter hit launcher. Right, this just launches you. They can launch with this into a, I don't know, whatever combo they can think of. I don't really know a good combo after that, after stance anyway. But yeah, this is super, super strong, and does a lot of damage if they don't go into stance. So if they don't go into stance, the combo is gonna look something like this, right? It is an easy combo. There's nothing like hard about this. There you go, 82 damage. So yeah, you have to be very, very careful about this, because this can be used as a pressuring tool. Like this, you know, just dash up down forward 4. If they get a counter hit, great, they get their launcher. If they don't get a counter hit, still great, they're plus and they're into a stance mix up. But if you block it, that's fine as well, because it's -1 into a stance, right? It's just -1 into a stance. It's whatever. And even without the -1, it's -4. So this is just -4 and has pushback. This move is absolutely insane. Crazy, crazy mid counter launcher, -4, goes to the stats, goes to the mix-ups, goes to mind games. Absolutely insane move. It's like Jin's forward 4. Jin's forward 4 has way more range and it's more minus. But yeah, it's a different kind of move. It's very, very different kind of move. This knee is absolutely crazy. It's an insane move. Okay, so this, as I said, creates the same kind of mind game situation as stance cancels like this, because you can also go into stance and cancel it. Right? You can choose to respect it or choose not to respect it, choose to down jab, choose to power crush. Creates an instant mind game situation from a counter launching mid-knee, which is fast. Right? So you have to be very careful. Very, very careful, because the mind game also works without the stance because of the pushback and the -4. Okay, that's about down forward 4. And the other one, which I also want to mention, you won't see this too much, but maybe in the future you will, because I feel like it has a lot of potential, is 3-1. So 3-1 is a mid-mid check, which is a natural, a normal hit, right? This is just natural. It is just +1, but this also goes into stats. Becomes +4. Basically, think of the sidestep 2 situation to +4. Very, very similar, but this is on hit, right? But good thing is, people usually won't disrespect you on hit. You don't really need to worry about it as the player anyway. But if you're the opponent, down jab here is gonna be pretty good. Lord and Savior, down jab, or power crush, basically. But yeah, 3-1 stance gonna be really, really good here, because it's a safe mid check. And I'm saying it's safe because even though this says -10, right? That says -10. Just like this says -11. Because of the stance into a cancel, this becomes safe. You cannot punish this, by the way. Let me demonstrate it. Like, I'm gonna try to punish this with a down jab. If you jab, it's just not gonna work, right? This high crushes. But let's say I down jab. Even that's not gonna work. This is purely safe. And if you down jab, you're just gonna lose your turn, and they're just gonna punish you, not punish you, but pressure you again. So down jabbing is not the worst option here, but it can become predictable because they can also low parry you. They can literally cancel into a low parry as well. Instead of just blocking, they will low parry. So let me just demonstrate that as well. And this is when mind games actually become developed with the character, right? There we go. They can do this. And I'm just mentioning this, even though you won't see this too much, is because in the future you might see this. You might see it. Oh yeah. Flash can launch it. I think Flash might not be fast enough for the cancel. I'm not sure. But yeah, Yoshi's Flash might be an answer. Yoshi players can check that out yourself. Maybe it's not that good against Yoshi. But yeah, 3-1 is really good because of this and the mind game situation, but not only because of that, but there is a follow-up here. So the important part is that if they delay it, this is going to work. If they don't delay it, this jails, you don't have to worry about it, just punish it. It's -14. But if they delay it correctly, anyway, this creates a mind game situation where you can't really retaliate here, right? You can't retaliate, and you can't sidestep. You cannot do anything here. So you're forced to just stand still and just wait for a mix-up. You can't sidestep, you can't press, and especially at the wall, this is very scary because they will just wall splat you. Like, just go here, right? And if I try to, let's say, to move away from the wall, I'm just gonna get wall splatted. Super, super scary, and if you don't, let's say, sidestep or press anything, you're gonna get mixed up. So this is another mind game situation and a mind game string that can be very good. And instead of a tracking high, it's a non-tracking mid. You guys see what I'm getting here, right? It's very, very deliberate. It's very deliberate from the developers that they're creating these mind game situations to just, I don't know, make you guess over and over again. Okay, so that's about these mind game strings. The sidestep 2, I did mention it slightly. This, I think, might be one of her best moves, if not one of the best moves in general. So sidestep 2, kind of think about it like a down forward 4, but it's a +1 move. Right, this is +1, has a pushback, which means that a single backdash will make anything whiff, and they can just whiff punish you. If the Miary player actually knows how to whiff punish well, maybe they'll do something like this to the whiff punisher, right? Or maybe they're gonna do, I don't know, maybe the orbital, they're gonna try it. It's slow, but they might try it. But yeah, stuff like this, you have to be very, very careful because of the pushback. So, since you're careful, now they just go into stance. I just told you, be careful, don't really press anything, right? But now they can go into stance and mix you up. Okay, now this situation here. If you power crush here, fine. Down jab here, that's also fine. As I already mentioned, this is the same situation as this. Exactly the same situation, right? So down jab can work sometimes. You will lose to the 1 because it's 13, fastest option. Power crush will work against any mid. It will work against any mid in general. So yeah, that's gonna be useful, but you're gonna lose to lows. But this is a very special situation, just like everyone else's. It's not special, I guess, because of that. Is that the stance is not forced, and the stance can also be cancelled. Right? You can just cancel it very, very easily as the Miary player. So be very, very careful when it comes to selecting your options here, because these situations force you to press if you don't want to guess, right? So what you're doing there basically is you're pressing a button if you don't want to guess, and you're not pressing a button if you're willing to guess. And this situation is very common in Tekken 8 specifically, obviously. Very, very common. So this is basically how it works. If you're fine with guessing, don't press. If you're not fine with guessing, press. That's about it. And depending on what you press, you might get countered. Let's say you're down 4-2, maybe something's gonna get countered. Down jab, mostly gonna work. Power crush, mostly gonna work. You know, maybe hop kick, you have it. Maybe it's gonna work. You just have to know what to press. But that's basically if you want to simplify it a lot, you either press or don't press. You want to guess, don't press. You don't want to guess, press. That's about it. The pressing, it just gets more complicated the more options you have. That's about it. Okay, so that's about this situation, as I already said. But now let's talk about wall running 3. Wall running 2 I did talk about. Now let's go to wall running 3 instead. The wall running 3 is another move, wall running move. Instead of the double high, it's a wall running mid into a pole stance, right? And this pole stance has different kind of mix-ups. But in this situation, this is actually way simpler mind game than these ones, right? Because these ones, the cancel, down jab, power crush, they might sidestep you. It's very complicated, right? Because she has a lot of options, and I mean a lot of options, because she can cancel into neutral. But that's not the case with the pole stance. She can cancel it like this, technically, right? But it's not as good as the 4-3 one. Okay, now let's talk about this. The main reason why this is not as good as the 4-3 one is because, one, it doesn't have the high crushing of this, right? So jabbing here is actually one of the best things to do. So +6 situation, I want you guys to remember the situation. +6, well, the Miary Zo is in pole stance. This happens commonly, and I mean very common, with this character whenever you either get hit by something, let's say 4-4, +6 pole stance, right? Or block something like wall running 3, +6 pole stance. Another situation is heat smash on block, +6 pole stance. This is very common, and you will see this a lot, right? But obviously also very important is that they're not forced into the stance. They're not forced into it. They could just hold back and not go into the stance. But yeah, you can kind of react to the stance. I think visually it's a huge pull. You can see it, right? And choose your buttons depending if they go into stance or not. Sometimes that can be possible, maybe in the future whenever people get used to it. But yeah, I'm just putting it out there. Alright, so this +6 into pole stance is very useful to know, because the +6 option is not enough for them to purely mix you up with this option, or this option. So that's a hell sweep, right? This is a pole hell sweep, it's a pole mid tracking, and this is a mix-up. You're gonna get mixed up. But the +6 situation is important to know, because it's not enough. What you can do, let me just demonstrate this, right? Is jab her out of it. I did not jab. Why did not come out? You can jab her out of this, right? So you're not guessing anymore. So you're not guessing, which means you're floating, which means you're comboing, for the Miary Zo player being greedy and wanting an instant mix-up, right? She can't beat it, and I'll show it. But before that, I want to mention this, right? You can jab her with like 80, 85, maybe 90% of the characters, right? The characters who cannot jab her here is Kazuya, Paul, and Devil Jin, from what I saw from my testing. There might be some others as well, I'm not quite sure, but these 3 characters I would not suggest jabbing that much. Devil Jin has a great option with backswing blow, and same with Paul. I would suggest backswing blowing there, and the option selects very well. For Kaz, I would suggest doing something like a back one instead. So instead of a jab here, let's say this jab, right? Instead of a jab, you do a back one, and then do a combo. Something like that, right? Why do I recommend this? Why is the jab not working? Let me just showcase it, right? So it will work against the mid option, but the low option, that hell sweep, actually evades it, right? And this happens on those 3 characters that I just mentioned: Paul, Devil Jin, and Kazuya. I'm not too sure about some others. I tested a lot of them already, but I missed some. You know, maybe there are some others. So instead of a jab here for Kaz, if you want to beat both of these mix-up options, you have to back one, and then do whatever combo, right? This combo doesn't really work here. So you have to find a good combo. But yeah, back one basically. Maybe something like this. That doesn't work either. I'll test the combo out later, but the important part is you have to back one. You kind of have to. Okay, so that's what you have to do if you want to avoid the mix-up, right? Just avoid the mix-up. Now, what beats it? The important part about the situation is that whenever this happens, not that option, whenever this +6 situation happens in general, she has this option, which is a jab. And this jab is 13 and it's +4. So just the jab you won't see that much, but I think just the jab is pretty damn good. It's pretty damn strong for like a safe check and maybe mix up immediately afterwards. There are some exceptions to this. Actually, most exceptions are there. The exception is that at the wall, this into something like a hell sweep will work, mostly. But outside of the wall, you can backdash out of this, right? But it's just good to remember. Remember that this is +4, just in case you see just this. But just that is not the only thing that she has. She also has this follow-up right here. So let me just showcase how this is going to look. You block this, you try to, let's say, jab interrupt. I'm just going to try to jab here. You will get hit by this, right? And you don't have to jab here, by the way, to get hit by that. If you sidestep, you're also going to get hit by that. Unless you're playing a female character, right? Unless you're playing a female character, or Clive, for whatever reason. Clive can sidestep this. You cannot sidestep this. But if you can sidestep it, you have to sidestep it to the right. Not right, left. You have to sidestep it to the left. From what I remember anyway, I might be wrong. But my character can't even sidestep it, and I'm not even testing it. But the thing is, in my opinion, sidestepping here is not even the best option. I don't think it's the best one, if you want to avoid this. I think the best way to avoid this is to actually duck into a float. Into whatever combo, right? Just do your best float combo. Doesn't really matter which one, but duck into a float is gonna be the best way to actually deal with this, in my opinion, right? And why is that? The reason why I think that is because if you duck, you're covering two options instead of covering just one. If you're sidestepping, you're covering this jab option, right? But for ducking, you can also duck the hell sweep. So you're covering two options. If you duck the hell sweep, you launch it. If you duck this, you float it. It's kind of simple, right? More or less. So that's why I think ducking is a little bit of a better option, but this is on a read, right? On a read, on the jab, you can duck to hard punish it, but you can also just choose to do nothing if you don't want to risk ducking there, because you know sometimes you don't want to guess and you don't want to get hit by a mid and you don't want to get normal hit launched, whatever the case is. So yeah, that's gonna be your options. Pretty simple in my opinion. It's either back one, or you know the jab, you duck it, or just do nothing if you expect the jab, right? But just remember that the jab string, this jab string right here, is -5. This is very important, because if you try to take your frames, let's say it's guys who try to forward through a hell sweep, they can very easily sidestep, very easily. Or you might even get hop kicked, or you might even get down forward 2, or G cleft, or jabbed, or whatever, right? -5 is not that high. So be careful about that. Be very, very careful. Okay. So that's about that situation. More or less, the exception to this situation is whenever they don't go into stance or cancel the stance. Right? Those are the exceptions. You won't see this too much, but I'm just putting it out there. Just putting it out there, she can do that. Let me just showcase it. Cancel. Like that, right? Cancel. Or just do this into no stance. She can also do that. That's why I said try to react to this huge pole appearing out of nowhere and then try to jab. Don't jab if it doesn't appear, basically is what I'm saying. Right? But yeah, it's gonna be hard unless you get used to this. Alright. And the good thing about the pole stance is that that's it. The pole stance is very simple. There's also this option, which is basically another mid option, right? This is a mid safe heat engager. You block it, a lot of pushback. Be careful, by the way, pushback mind games are a real thing. They are harsh. They can just do this into a power crush and you're gonna get hit. For free, you're gonna get hit. So yeah, into this or down forward 2, you might get hit. Be careful, it's safe. And if you do use a move, probably a long range move is gonna be the best bet, instead of like dashing in and pressing something. Okay, so that's about that. And this is just another version of the mid, right? Another version which is launch punishable, but it also launches on normal hit. This is like a high reward, high risk kind of situation if the player decides to, the Miary player decides to use it. So, yeah. Alright, and that's it. I already showcased the hell sweep. Hell sweep is launch punishable and I reblock it, and I showcased the jab. That's it. Those are all the options. But, okay, now let's talk about this stance. Right? I did cover a lot of stuff already when it comes to this stance, especially the transitions. So let me just recap the transitions. Side step 2, transition, down forward 4, transition, back to 3, transitions. 3-1, transitions, 1-2-2. That's not 1-2-2. 1-1-2. There we go. Also transitions, right? All of them transitions. So you have to be very, very careful about this, and you have to expect them. Now let's see the options. The option which will beat most of your options is stance 1. So something like this, let's say. Wall rank 2-1. I'm not recording. Wall rank 2-1 into a 1-2. Right? The options that I told you to do, something like a down jab, will get beaten by this because this is a frame trap. You can't down jab here. You also cannot sidestep here. Not step right anyway. But you can't do it. And I can't step left either. Unless you time it correctly, I guess. So you have to step left at the correct time and just buffer it basically. And then punish it. If you want to punish the 1-2, you have to buffer a step left and then do it. I think a sidewalk might be a little bit more... Yeah, I can't sidewalk it. Just have to buffer a sidestep. Or just time the sidewalk. But yeah, if you want to be like precise about it, buffer a sidestep, it's going to be easy. If you want to go left, right? And this is the one way to deal with this. But there are a lot of other options you have to deal with as well. Now let's showcase the other ones. One more thing before I go to the other ones though, is this is a mid-high and it's good to duck, obviously. Right, if you don't duck it, it's a -3 with pushback move, so be very, very careful about this. But if you do expect it, duck it and launch it. Right, obviously. Only thing about this is that it can be confirmed somewhat. It's not that easy to do, but they might try to do it, so yeah, be careful about that. And also one more thing. This move, just this, is -4. I think this is crazy. I don't know why. I really, really don't know why. But it's just -4. And so this means they do this and then mash. They do this into mash. And it's gonna work. Because it's -4. But yeah, it's -4. Be careful about it. And when it comes to delayed buttons, because this is a very common situation, people will delay their button. Because they're gonna wait for the high and then press a button. It's gonna look something like this, right? If they do mash into it. You're gonna wait a little bit, press, and you're gonna get countered. Let's say, right? Or you duck, press, and you're gonna get countered. It can happen. It can happen a lot. So be careful about that, and this will work because it's -4. I know, busted. I don't know why it's -4. But it's -4. Okay, so that's about the one, right? And this will check you very, very well, and this is gonna be very, very hard to punish if you're expecting the high. Even if you sidestep this, it's gonna be hard to punish. Okay, that's about the 1. Now let's see a low mix-up. The 4 is the low mix-up, the main low mix-up anyway, which is easy to do. Like 4-3 is a low high here, right? And whenever you block it, -36, you just launch it, obviously, right? Very, very high minus. But the problem here comes with just the low. So whenever the Miary player does the low like this, just the low without the high, you have to punish it with a 4-4. Right, this is the option select punish for it, basically, right? Because if you expect the high, you can't really react to the high that easily. If you're really locked in, you can, in my opinion, but it's gonna be very hard to actually react to this high and punish it correctly. You just do this, 4-4 as a punish, you do this, if you see the high, then you do while standing too, but it's hard, right? I can't do it. Even in practice mode, it's hard. If you're really locked in, maybe. I'll lock in, you know, just pay attention. I fucked up. It's still really hard to do. So if you want to option select this and not even guess, let's say a high comes out or not, you just while standing 4-4, it's always gonna punish. No matter what, it's always gonna punish. But as I said, it's not the best thing to do because you're gonna miss out on the launch punish on the high, right? You're gonna miss out on this. So sometimes what you do is just don't punish this at all and just wait for the high. Just wait for the high, and if it comes out, then you punish it. Something like this, right? Just fuzzy a little bit. If you stand up and the high comes out, you electric it or whatever, right? You hop kick it. This can also work. You can time it, yes, but it's not unreliable. I wouldn't really tell people to do it. I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, this is usually what you do. Usually. Okay, that's about the low, the most common low, anyway. But now let's talk about one of the more common mids as well. So 1-2 is pretty common, and then there's the 2. Now this move is also another busted move in my opinion, is stance 2, right? And this will be a mix-up whenever the +4 or +5 situation happens. And the way you deal with this, by the way, is you sidestep to the right, which is the opposite direction of stance 1. the opposite direction, right? So you have to guess either this or the other one, because if you stance this to the left, step this to the left, you're gonna get hit, right? It's just full tracking, more or less full tracking. There we go. Tracks really, really well. So you have to guess. Okay. So that's about this one property. Anyway. But the greatest thing about this move is that 1, it's -6, right? 2, it knocks down. Normal hit, knocks down. 3, wall splats. Normal hit, wall splat. Right? And 4, it's a counter launcher. So 1, you can't down jab here when you're -5. That's why I told you if it's lower than -5, not lower. Lower than +5, like +4 or something, you can jab or down jab because of this move. It's not that scary. But yeah, you have to be very, very careful with this. If you want to avoid it, you sidestep with the right direction. But the 1-2 is going to catch you and heat engage you, so you have to be very, very careful about all this, right? And the lows are going to mix you up no matter what. They track. The lows I showed, anyway. And yeah, I forgot to mention, this does hit grounded. Yeah, it hits grounded. So yeah, this literally does everything. Literally does everything. It's a crazy move. Okay. So that's about this. Will work as a mid mix-up. Low minus frames, counter with launcher, normal hit knockdown, wall splat, hits grounded. Well, does everything for you. And this is a low, and this is another mid. Kind of simple-ish, right? Kind of simple-ish. And the other option also is 1+2. So the 1+2, this option, not that. This option exists for people who turtle. Like, let's say you don't really press anything. Usually you don't press anything, right? What they're gonna do is they're gonna do this, and then 1+2, right? Because this is a plus frame move. You got hit by this, you don't press anything because you got hit, and they're just gonna loop mix-ups. Do this and loop another mix-up with a pole this time. And remember what I said a few minutes ago about the pole mix-up? That whenever the pole mix-up happens, it's usually +6, right? This is another +6 situation with the pole mix-up, which means the same mind game applies. Which means you can jab here, unless you're Kazuya. Back 1 here if you're Kazuya. But you can jab here with everyone else and interrupt the mix-up instantly and don't get hit. Unless they do the stance 1 option, which I already showcased the mind game. I don't need to go over too much, right? But this 1+2 option exists because of that. But this also has the same thing, that they're not forced into a stance. They can just choose not to. It's still +6. Not a stance anymore. So yeah, be very, very careful about this. And this stance, now let's go over the complicated part about the stance, right? This stance has a lot of cancels, and I mean a lot. 1 is a full crouch cancel with down back, right? You can cancel this by pressing down back, and now you're full crouch, which means you can use full crouch moves. I will cover full crouch moves after this. But yeah, you can use full crouch moves. You can also cancel into this stance, the pole stance. And the cancel is very, very fast. I think a lot of people underestimate how fast this is. This fast stance cancel is crazy to me, because the moment you go into a stance, you're expecting a mix-up, right? You're expecting getting mixed up here, but they go into the stance and just do a hell sweep on different times. Or you're expecting a mix-up, they do this into a heat engaging mid, right? And it's very, very strong. The sweep of the 3+4 stance, the counter launch. Yeah, I did not mention that. You're right. So this, I forgot to mention this. Twitch chat, go ahead as always. That this move, this pole 4, this is a counter launcher. The main reason I didn't tell anyone to not power crush, like I didn't say to power crush, right? I said to jab, let's say, is because of that. Because this situation, if you do try to power crush, even though it will beat mids, it will get countered launched by this low. So you do not want to power crush here. Back 1 is Kaz or jab with everyone else, right? So yeah, basically the main reason why you don't want to power crush. Okay. So yeah, that's about it for this stance. Is this cancel, this stance is down back cancel, and this stance with a down back cancel, in my opinion, is the scariest part, because the down back can go into neutral moves. They can just use normal neutral moves here, because they can cancel into up, let's say, and just press whatever button they want and jab there, or down forward 1 here, right? And depending on how well they do it, they can do a lot of stuff, right? A lot. Not only full crouch moves, but in general, a lot of stuff. And full crouch mix-up is the main thing I would worry about, to be fair. Don't worry about the neutral stuff, at least yet, unless people start doing it. But yeah, this full crouch sweep, and this, not that, this full crouch mid. basically that simple. I will cover this move in a bit. But the other cancel, as I already mentioned, this is something I don't believe you can react to that well. It is possible, but it's hard. Like whenever this happens, you get punished by this and they just cancel into that stance. If you already are not pressing anything, it's gonna be very hard to react to this. Very, very hard. Not to mention if you're down jabbing here, like I told you to down jab sometimes, well, not in this situation, but like the +4 situation, it's gonna whiff. So something like this is gonna happen into, let's say, that, right? And you try to down jab because, you know, Duda told you down jab, it's not gonna work. You're not gonna get punished at least, right? But it's not gonna work. It's gonna get crushed. So be very, very careful about this because this is very strong. Because as I said, if you're forced into a down jab situation or power crush situation, the delays and stance transitions become stronger and stronger. And this character, that's why I say this character has a lot of potential, like a lot of potential. Because she can mix you up very well, like very well, and with very easy decision making. Like you don't have to really guess if they sidestep you, but you have to guess if they mash against you. So yeah, it's not that hard decision making in my opinion anyway. Maybe it depends on the character. If you play against Yoshi, maybe you have to think about the flash. Whatever, right? I don't play this character. That's for the Miary players to figure out. Okay, so yeah, that's about that. But now let's talk about the full crouch mix-ups. Right? Whenever this situation happens and down back cancels, this can also happen at the wall, by the way. Like whenever they wall splat you with, I don't know, back 1-4 with 12 frame punish, by the way, and I don't know, do anything, they can just go into this stance while you're tech rolling and then mix you up from full crouch, or in general mix you up. So you have to be careful about that. But yeah, let's talk about the full crouch. The full crouch is a wall stand 1-4, which can be delayed, by the way, and also can be confirmed. This is a 13 frame punish, but this can also work as a mid mix up to this full crouch down forward 4. Right? This is a hell sweep. Treat it like a hell sweep. And this has a guaranteed either that, I think that's guaranteed, or a down back 3. That's also guaranteed. So it will hurt. 1, Oki is not that bad. 2, and it tracks you more or less. You can't really sidestep this that much. So yeah, be very, very careful here. Yeah, obviously looking up 3. As I said, from full crouch you can do like any kind of normal neutral moves as long as the up move, you know, it's normal full crouch stuff. But yeah, that's the full crouch sweep. Now let's talk about the mid. The mid is while standing 3. While standing 3 is a +7 on hit mid. That's a mix up with the sweep, right? You're just guessing there. And it's +4 on block. Right? Thankfully this doesn't go into stance at least, right? It doesn't go into stance, you're not guessing with the stance mix up anyway. But it's still a plus, and you still have to either respect it or not. You have to decide, obviously, right? Like down forward 1 will catch you, G-Clef is gonna catch you, 2-2 is gonna catch you. Down forward 4 might counter hit you depending on what you choose. So yeah, be careful. Be very, very careful about the situation. Oh yeah. The other thing which they can also use is while staying 1+2. I already covered 1+2, right? It's exactly the same move. It's a mid mix up from full crouch. So they can do it from stance as well. Like that. Like, let me just showcase. Like 1-1-2, stance, cancel 1+2. Kind of a mix up. Cancel 1+2, and you can do this very fast. I'm not too sure if I'm doing it right. There we go. That was pretty fast, right? And this is gonna be a mix-up, pure mix-up. So you have to be very, very careful about these kind of situations from full crouch. But that's more or less it from full crouch. There's other stuff you can also go and say as well, but more or less that's it. And yeah, while standing 3, counter launches. This does counter launch. So yeah, I don't know why so many things counter launch with this character, but they do. And this also does a lot of damage. Let me just do another simple combo. I already showcased so many simple combos. And all of them are staples, by the way. I'm doing the same thing. 86 damage. There we go. Right? Pretty damn simple. Does a lot of damage. Good wall carry if you know the combo as well. Yeah, I don't know, man. The character's good. The character's definitely good. Alright. So, yeah, that's about wall standing 3, more or less. But now let's talk about... let's go into heat a little bit. Right? Finally, we're going into heat, by the way. But before I go into heat, I want to mention some heat moves. And the 2 big heat moves is forward 4-2 and forward 4. And these moves are good even outside of heat, by the way. Right? But these are heat moves. Well, they get enhanced in heat. So forward 4-2-2 is one of the most busted long-range mids in the game, in my opinion. It's really busted. It's very, very strong. Like, holy shit, it's good. Maybe it's not as busted as Reina's. Reina's is also insane. But forward 4-2-2, 32 damage, right? 32 damage. normal hit, wall splat. Just wall splats. Into, you know, whatever combo. Doesn't really matter. Also, it has pushback. Like at the wall, it won't have pushback as you guys can see, obviously. But this is the pushback in the neutral. And I guess depending on the range, it can be even more. And you guys already know that pushback mind games are pretty big, you know? You can have to respect it. If you respect it, they can pressure you. If you don't respect it, they might counter it you or launch you or whatever, power crush you, let's say. Right? So this is an insane move. This also tracks to sidestep left of Miary. Which means whenever you're stepping to the right, you will avoid this. Right? You will. But sometimes you want to step to the left instead, you won't avoid this. So, yeah. Be careful about that. That's forward 4-2-2. As I said, this is the heat move. I'll cover the heat version as well. But this is the without the heat and it's still very strong. The other one is forward 4-2. So this is also a heat move, but it's also very strong without heat because it's a safe mid -9, right? And this will wall splat. It is a normal wall splat. So you have to be very careful about this. Like very, very careful about this. And just either step it. So one weakness this does have is that it's linear, but you won't be stepping it on Oki, let's say. Right? On Oki, this is not that steppable. So you have to be very, very careful. That's one. The second thing, if you want to deal with it, is if you do block it, the second hit is actually power crushable. So let me just demonstrate that, right? Usually you can't do anything about the second hit. I wish it was steppable. I wish, but it's Tekken 8, nothing is steppable. But you can't step this either direction, at least not with Kazuya anyway. Maybe with Lily or I don't know, anyone else, maybe. But what you can do here is power crush in between. And this is a generic option for every character, by the way. But there are some characters that have like unique options. For example, Jin can parry this, Leroy can parry this, who else? Clive can parry this. But normal parries will not work because it's a claw or snakes or whatever, right? If you have a parry that parries something like that, you can parry it. If you don't, you can't. It's that simple. Generic option, power crush. Everyone can do this. So, yeah. The mix-up to this, by the way, is if the Miary player actually plays the mind game correctly, anyway. Which, as I said, these mind games you won't see too much in the early games. Is forward 4, let's say, they might sidestep after it. Like something like this, that, down forward 2, right? Because I see the forward 4, I power crush, now I look like an idiot. Now I'm an idiot, because I just power crushed there, because I saw a forward 4, he just power crushed, not power crush, sidestepped, and now I'm launched. So, yeah, you have to be very careful here, because forward 4 is also a busted move. By itself, it's a busted move. Because it's a -6 pushback move that forces you to power crush on the reaction. Right? Unless you react to the claw itself, which is gonna be hard to do, you are gonna be doing stuff like this. You are gonna be doing stuff like this. So, yeah, you have to be careful about stuff like this. Very, very careful. But as I said, you won't really see this too much yet. Maybe later. Maybe in tournaments. Who knows? Right? But the other thing I also had to mention, just like chat mentioned, is that it has a high extension as well. But it does have this, forward 4-4-4. So even if you do try to power crush it, this is also gonna catch you. It's not that scary because it doesn't have a counter it. Right? And you can also duck this. I don't think this is worth it. If I was the Miary player, I would not do this. I would just forward 4 into a sidestep. Why would I even do the high? You know? Because off chance, I might just duck. Obviously, I won't. Why would I duck? There's a bit there that's safe. But maybe they will. So instead of the high, I would usually sidestep. But there is a high extension there as well. There is indeed the high extension. Alright. So that's about those two moves. As I said, they're heat moves. Now, it's going to heat. Right? So, her heat basically enhances these moves which are already strong. So forward 4-2-2, now instead of being -9 with good pushback, is -1 with even better pushback, right? And there's a lot of chip. So this is what the move becomes. And this move still wall splats, by the way, right? And it does 47 damage. So imagine this kind of situation, right? Just this kind of situation, you can imagine it. You're at the wall, and you're getting pressured, more or less. in the long range, you can still get pressured because this exists. And you're gonna get it wall splatted into a lot of damage, basically. I messed up the combo there. It's gonna be 80 damage at least. And for a wall splat, that's pretty damn high damage. Instant wall splat, right? So be very careful about that. And other than that, you also have to be very careful for the minus frames. Because as I said, this is -1 now, which means a G clef is gonna be common, right? They're just gonna do this 1 to 2 and then pat themselves on the back for being smart, because -1 to G clef is smart Tekken behavior, I guess. So yeah, be very careful about stuff in flowcharts like this. They might even do a sidestep there to avoid some stuff. You know, it's Tekken 8, most likely not. But yeah. Oh yeah. That's about 442. Now let's talk about forward 4. So forward 4 is exactly the same, more or less, but it also does more damage. Right? It's just more damage. And now it's plus. Fun, right? Instead of being -9, now it's plus. The other one became -1. This became +2. Mind games are gonna be pretty similar, which means G clef, right? 1 to 2 there, 2 2 there. Maybe a homing move there, like back 4. I already mentioned back 4 being very good for one side homing. And it's also -2. Crazy, right? Insane move. And they can press whatever they want because it's +2 for whatever reason. So yeah, be careful there as well. And that's about that. But there's also one heat move that won't be used that much, and one that can be used a lot, but I guess it depends. So let's talk about these. The other one that I think won't see too much is this one right here. This one might be used to catch your sidesteps sometimes at the wall, right? The up forward 3 into 1 +2. And whenever you do see this, just remember, you are minus. You see a heat move, think of it as your minus. Even though the forward 4-2 is not minus, it's -1. Think of it like you're minus and play the same mind game as like +2 situation, right? Doesn't really matter, to be fair. And yeah, +4 for the Miary player. Be very careful whenever you block this. Good thing about this is that it's a high startup, so it's not a mid mix-up. If this was mid, this would be busted. But it's not a mid. But the other one is a mid. This is a mid, so this is busted. So yeah, it doesn't really matter, to be fair. Oh yeah. So that's about forward 3. You won't see this too much, but sometimes you might, so it's good to know. It's +4. Now the other one. The other one is up 3, 1 +2. So up 3 by itself in the neutral can be used somewhat. And this tracks to the left, by the way. Not to the right, you have to step to the right. And this will attract it to the left decently well. But by itself, you won't really see this too much. But in heat, this becomes this move. Right? It's -9. And the reason it's -9 is because it's a normal hit launcher. But -9 like this, launches like that. Into, I don't know, something like that, right? That's a hard combo that I did right there, but whatever. Whatever, right? Doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure there's easier combos that do the same damage. So, yeah. Very, very scary. Will be good combo, good wall carry, to the wall, mix up, mind games. I already explained a lot of stuff from the start of the vid, right? And you're going to have to deal with all of that the moment you get comboed. Okay, so what does this mean? This move. What this means is that this can be used as a mid mix-up now. Not only from, you know, normal pressure, like, you know, this or whatever lows, but you can also do it from this stance. Why? Because you can just cancel it into upgrade. Right? Imagine this situation. You get punished by this, not that, 1, 1, 2, and now you have to guess. That's a mid mix-up in heat. That's a mid mix-up. You duck, you're dead, basically. Right? You're just dead. Because if you think there's a low incoming and they do this, you're going to get normal hit launched. If they cancel it correctly, it's very fast. Very, very fast. So, yeah, I guess good luck with that. Okay, but now let's end this speed lab by talking about lows. So one weakness I did say at the start of the speed lab was that you have to kind of step this character, and that's usually what you want to do. Kinda a weakness, even though she can deal with it, kinda there. The other weakness, in my opinion, is that her lows are a little bit lackluster. It's not the best out there, but there's one low that you will see almost all the time, which is pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good, which is down 3. So I did not mention this yet, but down 3 is an amazing low that she has. 20 frame low, pretty fast. +1, not that bad. But the main reason this is so damn strong is because it has a lot of range. It hit from there or there, right? What is this? Why are we doing? How did that hit? almost like 2.8 range. Right, that's absolutely insane. That's let's say 2.8. There we go, 2.8-ish. That hit. How did that hit? So it has a lot of range, which means that it forces you to sometimes duck even in these situations. Which also means that this is gonna hit you. Right, if you duck in that situation and they just forward 2, this is gonna hit you. So yeah, be very, very careful about this low. On counter hit, it does plus 12. So high plus frames, not that high, but decently high, so you have to be careful whenever you get counter hit. But the important part to remember about this low is that the moment you get hit by this, Miary is in full crouch. This is very, very important, because what you're gonna see after it is a wall standing 4, let's say. Like this is the wall standing 4. Which means that if you try to jab, this will trade. If you sidestep, let's say you try to sidestep here, it will work. You know, you have to read the wall standing 4, sidestep electric, let's say, it's gonna work. But you can also see something like this into wall standing 1, 4. You can see some stuff like that. And the tracking on wall standing 1 sometimes might catch you, right? Depending on which side you sidestep. And from what I'm seeing right now, you have to sidewalk it to the left and not to the right. So this, most likely, is gonna be a pretty common option, because I cannot step it. Azia issues, I guess. Play a better character. But yeah, wall standing 1, common. Wall standing 4 gonna be common. If you respect it, you might get mixed up for full crouch. So yeah, good luck. Good luck, good luck. Okay, so that's about that, more or less. And the other lows, that is down back 4. Basically, it's a minus 12 low. Think of it like a little mini poke. It's nothing too much, right? It's plus 4 Miary though, so expect G-clef mix-ups like, you know, or 1-1-2 checks, or 1-2-2 G-clef, or 2-2 check, or whatever, right? You can expect stuff like this. And the other one, which can be kind of useful as well, you will see this too, is down back 3. So down back 3 is a 22 frame low, which you can kind of think of this like is a large down back 4. Kinda, right? It's a large down back 4, or a Victor down back 4. A little bit slower, I think it's 2 frames slower if I remember correctly, but it does the same thing. It's plus 5 on hit, it's a countered launcher, and it's launch punishable. If you can react to this, that's pretty good, but I think reacting to this is a little bit unrealistic, right? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Most of the time you won't be reacting to this. So yeah, down back 3, pretty good low. Just remember that just like forward 3, not forward 3, down 3, Miary is recovering crouching, and they will do wall standing mix-ups, right? Do something like this, not that, like this into full crouch low, maybe, right? They can't do that. Recovering crouching. Okay, this is very, very important, because this also has a lot of range, just like down 3. It's not as much as down 3 from what I know. Definitely not as much, but it also has pretty good range. But usually you will see these lows. There's also another one, which is this one. I don't see this. I've never seen Miary players do this yet. Maybe they will. And this is also launch punishable, by the way. It's minus 15, so I don't think it's worth it. When you have this low, why would you do this one? I guess that's why no one used it. But yeah, usually you will see down 3 the most. And down 3, I forgot to mention this, is minus 14 on block. Which means someone like us can launch it, unless you're unlucky and you're very, very far away. Sometimes Twin Pistons with. Most of the time you can launch this as us, you can launch it as Raven, you can launch it as Jin. Who else? Hwoarang also, right? Whatever. It's minus 14. Some characters can launch it, some characters can't launch it. Okay. Yeah, June, Devil, Jin, whatever. So, yeah. That's about it for lows, more or less. And that might be it. Maybe. Okay, one more thing. I almost forgot. I did not mention this move. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other stuff I didn't mention either. But I just want to mention this one. So up 1+2 is basically their move for whenever the opponent is too scared to sidestep. If you as a player, you're too scared to sidestep in general, they might use this move, which is a +4 orbital. And you can kind of think of it like a cloud you off forward 2. It's kind of similar. So it's a +4, very good range orbital. It's linear, you can step it, right? Either direction. I think sidestep left is a little bit easier than right, but either direction is gonna be okay. So up 1+2, very good range, +4, and the big thing about this is that this also recovers crouching. And you're minus, right? Whenever they do a wall standing 4 here, most of the time you can't do anything. unless you have a slight angle. So if you have a slight angle, you can actually step this. But most of the time, while standing forward, you can't do anything about this. You literally can't do anything about it. Like, you can try to power crush, but it's not a punish. As you guys see, there's no punish icon, right? They can just block this. So, heat smash, oh true, I didn't talk about heat smash, you're right. But, yeah, this, very, very good move, and whenever you do block it, you're in a full crouch mix-up. +4, full crouch mix-up, +4 for Miary, obviously. So, you have to either respect it, or not, it's your choice, obviously, right? If you check with something good, maybe Magic 4, maybe down forward 2 as Gaz, maybe down jab, our Lord and Savior, it's just how it is. But other than that, you have to be very, very careful, like very, very careful. Now let's talk about the heat smash, and that's gonna be it. Yeah, the I-12 counter launcher, I do know back one too, but I don't think this is worth talking about too much. This is just something to punish, you know, you just punish it, you can't really do much about it. Okay, now let's talk about her heat smash. So heat smash I briefly did mention when I was talking about the pole stance. But this goes into the +6 pole stance, right? And this situation is exactly the same as I already explained in the pole stance section, whatever I was talking about, right? It's exactly the same. So you jab, or with Gazu you back one, or you try to float the jab, or you don't do anything, depending on what you want, right? But the thing about this heat smash is that this heat smash can also not go into stance. But if they don't go into stance, it's -2 now, right? So, yeah, just be careful. As I said, if you can react to the pole, it's better to react and then choose an option. But, yeah, that's about it. And also, this heat smash tracks slightly to the right. It does track slightly to the right. So, let me just showcase the situation. If you get punished by 112, wrong punish. If you get punished by 112 like this in the heat smash, you actually cannot sidestep this to the right. Oops. Okay, that's a bad situation to showcase. Wait. I just want to showcase the tracking of this, right? Whenever this situation happens and they're in heat, if you try to sidestep to the right, it will just track you. So it has a little bit better tracking to the right than to the left, because in this specific situation, you go left and you avoid it. Then you can, you know, launch it or whatever. So, yeah. Her wall jump. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry, guys, but Twitch chat, you know, Batman out here saving me. But yeah, I'm going to mention the wall jump as well. Okay, so this was about that. I forgot about her wall jump stance. It's not going to be too much, so let's just cover it a little bit faster. So the wall jump basically happens whenever this flip over happens at the wall. This is back through +4 input. And this happens at the wall, and basically treat this like a mini stance. And this stance has the option to do a 4, this right here, which is going to be more or less the main option. Right, more or less. So let me just go to the wall once again. There we go. And the 4, whenever this happens, you have to remember your -2. You also have to remember it's +5 with stance, right? And this +5 in stance situation, some of you guys might recognize it, is this situation. It is this situation. Literally, it's this situation. So the explaining that I did for this mind game is exactly the same for this mind game. Basically exactly the same, right? The only difference is that this +5 can become even more plus, depending on the angle. So let me just showcase that. Okay, didn't reach there. Let me try to make it a little bit more plus. There we go. It becomes +9 now, right? Depending on how it hits. So I would usually respect this if you do block this. Usually I would respect it. If you want to deal with this, you have to step it. Usually you step this. But now the mind games come in. The mind games are, they can just cancel into a stance without doing the 4. If you respect it, let's say you sidestep, you might get punished. Not punished, but mixed. Or they can also do the pole stance. You already know the pole stance, and you guys already know the other stance. That's about it. Okay, that's about it. Of course, this can be way more complicated. They can do this, into this stance, and then hell sweep you. As I said, stance cancels for this character are crazy strong. In my opinion, they're crazy strong anyway. But, yeah, that's it. One more thing. In heat, she doesn't need a wall. She jumps on her staff. Right? And this situation just happens for free, more or less. So be careful. Whenever she's in heat, she can just jump sideways, which is a basically free sidestep. Also jump on her pole, and then do whatever the fuck she wants, you know, mix you up or whatever. So yeah, that's about it. That's about it. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the speed lab, right? Hopefully. So I did cover a lot of stuff. To be fair, I covered a lot of stuff, and it was a long one too. But there were a lot of stuff I also didn't cover, I'm pretty sure, because new character, early speed lab. I just wanted to get this over with because I really wanted to show everyone how to deal with this character a little bit better. So yeah, here we are. And YouTube, thank you for watching. Big thank you. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see everyone next time. Till then.